then upon us here assemble and grant with and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and a faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory and for advance, peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, confirm whether we have quorum so that we transact the business of the day.
Honorable Speaker, there is no quorum.
Okay, I direct the office of Sergeant Atan, the bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, sir, there is quorum.
Okay, order of business.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Tarbe. Yes, what?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion on establishment of support system at Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex to combat gender-based violence amongst the athletes. Honorable Speaker, Nandi County is renowned in Kenya for its exceptional contribution to athletics, particularly in long-distance running. It is often referred to as a source of champions, producing numerous world-class athletes, including legends like Kipchoge Keino, the senior-most athlete in Kenya, and Eliud Kipchoge, who is also referred to as the GOAT, the greatest of all times, Mr. Speaker, among others. The outstanding achievements of our athletes at the recent concluded 2024 Olympics and the joyous atmosphere felt nationwide were tragically overshadowed by the death of the Ugandan athlete, that's Rebecca Cheptegei, who was killed by her husband during a domestic dispute. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, Agnes Tirop, which all of us remembers, a rising star in Kenyan athletics, was found stabbed to death in her home in October 2021. Her husband was named as a prime suspect and is currently facing a number of murder charges. Service is to say that the tragic death of Agnes Tirop and Rebecca Cheptegei have highlighted the issues of gender-based violence among Kenyan athletes and their spouses. Recognizing that the deaths have shown some light on the pressure faced by the female athletes in Kenya, particularly the financial exploitation and toxic relationship they often find themselves. It is important to note that in Kenya, gender-based violence, GBV, remains a significant issue. These alarming statistics highlight its prevalence. According to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey, over 40% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner or some point in their lives. In 2022, a report by the Center of Rights on Education and Awareness, Kenya, it documented that 3,762 cases of gender-based violence, with 2,985 of these cases involving women, and 777 involving men. This data, Honorable Speaker, underscores the urgent need for comprehensive measures to address gender-based violence in the country. Acknowledging that Nandi County prides itself as a source of champion, it's insofar as athletics is concerned, it is incumbent upon the people of Nandi through this county government to be at the forefront in providing leadership on this urgent and critical matter on containing gender-based violence among our sports persons. This House therefore resolves that the county government establishes at Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex a community-based counseling and supportive service specifically tailored for athletes and their families, including providing access to sports psychologists and family counselors to offer professional guidance on the healthy relationship and conflict resolution skills among young people, and create a safer environment for individuals at risk of gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, just last week, Mr. Speaker, we buried a great athlete. That's Rebecca Cheptegei. And the memory is still fresh for Agnes Tirop, who was our athlete in Nandi County. Both of them, Mr. Speaker, suffered gender-based violence. This demonstrates that, and you know, Mr. Speaker, the kind of importance which our athletes brings to our county. Recently, we saw when the president was launching the Eldoret City, we saw the kind of pride which our sportsmen and women are giving to our country. But, Mr. Speaker, our athletes, especially the female athletes, are now becoming prey to some kind of hustlers in quotes who are aiming at these women, Mr. Speaker. And so this demonstrates, you know, these are the ones who are coming to limelight because of the domestic issues, the GVV they are facing. So it could be, it means therefore, there could be a number of them outside there who are suffering in silence. And when you go to our complex, Mr. Speaker, here, hundreds of athletes are training daily. So, and now that we have the complex in place, it's just a matter of allocating some space, employ maybe a counselor and a psychologist who will attend to these people, because without giving time to them to share, we might experience more cases in future, Mr. Speaker. So to avert this scenario, we need to prompt the county government to just create a space, because we have the complex already. We have created a beautiful complex. I know we are creating a gym in place, but a gym and these other facilities, Mr. Speaker, without the psychological comfort of these athletes, means we will lose as a county and as a country. So, Mr. Speaker, this is just a motion to establish a support system so that we can combat this menace of gender-based violence among our athletes. So I urge the Honorable House to support, and I request the Honorable Chair for Sports to second the motion, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Before I second this motion, I want to sincerely thank our member from Sports Department, Honorable Tarbei, for coming up with this motion on establishment of a support system at the Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex to combat the GBV, or the gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, it's so sad at this era that we are still losing our athletes all over this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reason GBV violence is that an athlete by the name Cheptegei was murdered brutally by his boyfriend. Honorable Speaker, if we continue this way, we'll lose our athletes, and at the end of it, this country will lose our heroes and heroines. Honorable Speaker, I remember at the time that Agnes also was murdered in this way. It's so a shame that at this era, we continue doing this. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House as we debate on this motion that all our heroes and heroines should be treated in a manner that all of us will be happy. We need these people, we need these athletes in each and every corner of this country, as they are the source of revenue to this country. Honorable Speaker, we are the source of champions here in Nandi, and we need to be the source of a better life for all of our athletes. Honorable Speaker, as we do this, we are urging this House to adopt this motion that an office here in Nandi should be prioritized in Kipchoge Sports Complex, that the athletes or the GBV office should be established so that whenever we have such cases, before anything bad happens to our athletes, we should be able to resolve here at the headquarters. Honorable Speaker, it's so absurd that young talents each and every day, each and every hour are brutally murdered. They are the sons and daughters of this great country, Kenya. And for that reason, Honorable Speaker, we want to say enough is enough. Let our athletes get their rightful share in this country. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House that let us come together in this. Let us ask the executive arm, especially the Department of Sports. I, being the chair here, asks that let us have this office, let us have officers, so that this menace should stop once and for all. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that let us ask this Honorable House, or I rather ask this Honorable House, that we move this motion together so that our athletes will be taken care of. Honorable Speaker, I therefore second this motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, I now propose the motion on establishment of a support system at the Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex to be combat gender-based violence, GBV, amongst the athletes be discussed. Honorable members, the floor is open for discussion. Honorable Beth, I hope your mic is on. I don't know whether you are, it's by mistake or by default, or you wanted to discuss. So, Honorable Beth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion on establishment of counseling and support services at Kipchoge's complex. As earlier mentioned by the mover of the motion and the seconder, we pride ourselves being the source of champion. And as we pride ourselves being the source of champion, we are also the source of great athletes in this country. Nandi County being second after Elgeyo Marakwet. And athletes play a very important role in revenue generation in our country. The dollars they earn because of their success enhance our revenue streams as a country. And as we celebrate these heroes and heroines, we should also give a support. A number of them have died through gender-based violence. And in establishing this counseling center, this will ensure that they live a better life, not only their social life, but also financial life. You know, money always brings a lot of destruction. Money sometimes even can divide the family. And Mr. Speaker, sir, we as a county, and as we nurture our athletics in Nandi County and Kenya at large, should ensure we also take care of their lives, their welfare, psychological welfare, and their social welfare. And the only way we can ensure that is by establishing this counseling center within Kipchoge Stadium, so that as we nurture athletes, we are able to take care of their future lives. Mr. Speaker, I also stand to support this motion in totality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think this is a good proposal, Honorable Speaker, although I have some reservations in the sense that, first of all, the mover of the motion has not attempted to describe what the system is. I know he mentioned something to do with having a counselor and so on, but it's not very clear that if this House today were to pass this motion and it gets to the executive, that they would actually know what it is that they are expected to do. And I'm also saying this, Honorable Speaker, in light of what is obtaining today. You might have seen, Honorable Speaker, what is happening all over the place in terms of people who have been in various places, or at least they are surprising us that they have been working for this county, somehow in very interesting places. This could easily become a window for somebody to say, I was creating a system to support our athletes. So I would have wanted to suggest, Honorable Speaker, that this House firms up on this a little bit. And then again, looking at Standing Order number 47, that is section 12 on motions that call for the commitment of funds. I do not know whether indeed we have officers already who can just be transferred into this place without the county committing any funds? Is there a monetary implication? And if indeed there is, because I have even heard the seconder saying, let's have people employed. Let's have officers posted. Let's have a system. How can we be sure, Honorable Speaker, now that we have not even corrected the mess that is already there right now, where people have probably been serving in various senior positions without serving, that this will not introduce us? So I wanted your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, that we find out, maybe the move of the motion could clarify, does it have monetary implication? And if it does, where will the budget be from? And if there is no such a provision right now, this House should not pass motions in futility. Whatever we pass is law. So it is a good idea. It should be there. But probably this House should proceed with it along the lines of Standing Order number 47, whereby if money, public money will be required, that the Speaker either does not approve the motion or you allow the select committee concerned to look at it and then give us suggestions so that when we are passing, we can also do probably during the times when we are working on the supplementary budget, include the monies that will be required for this purpose. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Before Honorable Tarbe, you can clarify whether the calls for the commitment of the public funds are said by Honorable Maina so that we can see whether we can continue or then you will comment. Honorable Tarbe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, although I might not have the nitty-gritties, but the fact here, Mr. Speaker, is we have a beautiful complex at Kipchoge Sports Complex. We have constructed using a lot of resources, Mr. Speaker. The fact, Mr. Speaker, remains that we have seen our great athletes being murdered. Mr. Speaker, if we have a gym which the county equips with a lot of money, what is the use of having a wonderful gym, Mr. Speaker, train an athlete to the level of Faith Kipyego, who comes with a lot of cold in our county, Mr. Speaker? Tomorrow we heard she's being murdered, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, county have employees. This may not be a money bill, Mr. Speaker, because as the honorable member for implementation chair and the member for Leso says, we have county employees, we have staff. If you go to the complex, Mr. Speaker, where the Department of Sports is hosted, you find a number of employees there, and I know they have psychologists, they have the coaches, and I know these coaches, Mr. Speaker, are being trained even to offer counseling services, Mr. Speaker. But just imagine an athlete who is training and she's undergoing gender-based violence, Mr. Speaker. Where does she go if we don't have an office, Mr. Speaker? So if it means the CC will sit in that office and offer counseling services, let it be, Mr. Speaker. If it means the CEO, all those employees, we don't need to hire new employees, Mr. Speaker, but there is need for these services, Mr. Speaker, at the complex, because we cannot offer a track, someone is running. We offer a gym where he's training for fitness. But, Mr. Speaker, tomorrow we hear our athletes are being murdered. And it's last week we were burying Cheptegei, Mr. Speaker. And when when athletes were murdered, Mr. Speaker, it was a high-level meeting, Mr. Speaker. So there is need. I want to urge the honorable members that we should look at the bigger picture. If Faith Kipyego can bring 2 colds, Mr. Speaker, to our county, why shouldn't we protect that athletes? Because I'm using as an example. Because, Mr. Speaker, you could go to the sports complex, hundreds of athletes are training there. So I know the county has established even rescue center. I know there is one in Captel. But it may be a challenging for these athletes to go there, Mr. Speaker, and over counseling. But because they are coming to train there, Mr. Speaker, if we can open an office, it doesn't matter whether they are employees in the system of the county, because we have counselors in our hospitals. Some can be posted there, Mr. Speaker, to offer services. So
Thank you,
I don't
Honorable.
consider this as a money bill, Mr. Speaker, a money motion, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Maina, I think he has tried to clarify. Okay, Honorable Bitok.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also stand to support this motion that we have a very dangerous problem in our country, especially to the athletes and even majority of the citizens of Nandi County and all over the country as large. So we have to look avenues. Death is a very dangerous enemy to human being. And now, some of these athletes, there are some counseling that it is supposed to be done through judges, through families, and that one is supposed to be done. And cultural ways that a culture was protected by men, by boys. This is part of the things that we want to introduce in our county, in that sports club, that even we can introduce cultural norms and form one of the committees here, like tourism and culture, to only that we bring our cultural ways of protecting the girls and also protecting the boys. Also, even boy child is in danger. If we say about the athletes, at the moment, people are committing suicide anyhowly. You can see even teachers and others who are not recognized hanging themselves because of the problems of the economy and other things. And another thing that I can see, immediately after this system being introduced, we need also to advise these athletes to remarry themselves. You know, the class is a problem. The class, even now, when you see the learned people, those who have went to school, and another one who never went to this world of education, there is a problem, there is a lot of conflict. Now, when you see this athlete, when she is married to someone who has no money, and then all of a sudden, there is a lot of questioning on issues, or family issues. So I support this motion that let this system be put in work, and then we see and also introduce some advice to this that I propose that also they learn how to marry themselves, not only that they immediately let them remarry themselves because they are married together, and choosing the partners that will cause chaos and who are innocent about, you know, somebody who has not, who is not informed. There's a problem, and that is where the problems are. So let us support the motion that this thing happened.
Honorable Mosby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion by Honorable Tarbey. It is indeed timely. Much as some honorable members have raised reservations on its fineness, but nonetheless it is an attempt. Mr. Speaker, going by what is happening within our executive, Mr. Speaker, you realize that if we don't take some of these actions, we seem to have a team of employees in the executive wing that don't care really about what is happening. They are the ones who are supposed to be offering some of these solutions, not waiting for murders to take place. The cold murders that we've seen in the recent past tells us that we have to take action, Mr. Speaker. Now, setting up a counseling center in Kipchoge Sports Complex is indeed the right thing to do. Remember, as these at least train, I was there this morning, Mr. Speaker, and as they train, at least they should know a place where they can go, particularly when they are successful, because these athletes seem to be running into trouble the moment they begin to get good money. when now, particularly male gender, is prone of conning them, they associate with them, Mr. Speaker, and it is not just things that come out. These, especially ladies, go through very difficult experiences. Some of them may not speak about it. They may not be killed, but the psychological trauma that they go through. For instance, they win millions, and then they are conned of those millions by a man who is seated somewhere, or who is lying somewhere enjoying those monies. And then when that athlete is no longer as productive, such a person walks away, leaving this athlete very distraught. And it is not just the female athletes, even the male ones. Some of them, as we speak now, are alcoholic because of relationships that they had, or relationship that they went into, which never functioned. And now when they become broke, when they become disturbed, they go into drug abuse. So for the Honorable Member Tarbay to come up with this motion, personally, I would say that we should also call upon, particularly our research team, our researchers in this assembly, Mr. Speaker, so that when they help us come up with such motions, they should be very, very specific on exactly what should be done. But this, Mr. Speaker, is a wake-up call. We are doing something about it. We should even suggest that an athlete that is becoming, that has won, say, a gold medal, or that has won a big competition, should be assigned a security officer, Mr. Speaker. Something like that. A policeman or a policewoman, a bodyguard, so to say, who will be monitoring these athletes from day to day, and if there is any source of insecurity, such a person who is very close should blow the whistle, and we save our athletes. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this motion that we, all of us, no one in his right mind, Mr. Speaker, can oppose a motion of this nature. In fact, this motion should have come the other year, last year when we came in, because of the tragic ends that we've witnessed among the athletes. It should be the end, Mr. Speaker. And I want to repeat, Mr. Speaker, that setting the counseling center at Kipchoge's sports complex is the right thing to do, because as the athlete is training, he or she will be aware that there is a particular room that when they get disturbed, they can be able to run to and confide their problems and have their problems solved, if not shared, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I support.
Honorable Pate, Josephat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to comment on this motion moved by my namesake, Honorable Tarbay. This man is a ranking member. He has been in this floor, this Honorable House, for a very long time, Honorable Speaker, and we applaud him for such a very important motion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this motion, it is really long overdue, Honorable Speaker. It has been being brought to this house a long time ago, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, in our case, I have a rescue center. We have already established a rescue home in my ward, the only rescue center in the entire county, Honorable Speaker, which is meant to counsel those who have problems, domestic violence, those who have those who have been tortured at home, Honorable Speaker. The only rescue center that we have is at Kapsisiwa And this one for at least, Honorable Speaker, as a member of sports, I dearly and strongly support this motion that a training center, a counseling center should be set at Kipchoge Complex, so that each athlete should be given a time to be trained there before they embark on trainings or sports in various countries, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you find that a number of athletes has been butchered like chickens, Honorable Speaker. Why? Because of money matters. Money separates families, Honorable Speaker, as he has been said by Honorable Pate, that money is a problem. But, Honorable Speaker, a training should be set. A structure should be set so that all the athletes should be a mandatory. Maybe they will set a curriculum for training this athlete, Honorable Speaker, and we as the source of champions, we should be on forefront. We should be on forefront, being a role model to other counties, Honorable Speaker. It is a long overdue, but nevertheless, it is good this motion has come at the right time, Honorable Speaker. I support this motion, Honorable Speaker. And for a matter of fact, a professional counselor should be employed at the Department of Sports, which will handle these cases, domestic violence, financial management. You know, we have seen these athletes. As somebody who has never learned, who has never had even 100,000, landing in $1 million plus. At the end of the day, they will get confused, Honorable Speaker, when they see or hand such a very huge amount of money. They will start misbehaving. It is not their problem. It is about the trainings. So a trainer should be set, financial trainers, which will train them on matters of finance, financial management should be employed. Honorable Speaker, I think I have exhausted my points, Honorable Speaker. I dearly support this motion 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Tildai. Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this motion of Honorable Tervey. Mr. Speaker, I have read the motion and I see that it is helpful to our athletes, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, Honorable Tervey has given us a good motion, and it's like he has done a research to know that what has been happening to our athletes. But Mr. Speaker, as I support this motion, Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to advise our athletes, Mr. Speaker, when you win, Mr. Speaker, when you come home, Mr. Speaker, stick to your husband or your spouse, Mr. Speaker, for that matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know when you get money, sometimes Satan can come in to tell you that the spouse you've been with is not the right one for you. And Mr. Speaker, we should learn this thing. And it's happening, Mr. Speaker, either for the athletes or non-athletes. It is all over, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, you know money and Satan, it is not far apart, Mr. Speaker. They are friends, Mr. Speaker. And we should watch very carefully, Mr. Speaker, for this money so that they should not manipulate us, Mr. Speaker. Even as honorable members, we should not be overwhelmed with this issue of money, Mr. Speaker, so that we could forget our God. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, I want to come back to this motion, Mr. Speaker.
You are referring to the athletes or all the sports or only the athletes?
I was giving advice, Mr. Speaker, to all of us, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, continue.
Both us and the athletes, because that thing, Mr. Speaker, for divorce is affecting each one of us and every one of us in this generation. And Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Darbe has put it, Mr. Speaker, we have issues which has been happening to our athletes, Mr. Speaker. And I feel, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Darbe, Mr. Speaker, could have added, Mr. Speaker, financial advisors, Mr. Speaker, to these athletes. So that, Mr. Speaker, when they get money, you know money, Mr. Speaker, when you get money in bits until you become a rich man, Mr. Speaker, or a wealth person, Mr. Speaker, it is good because you know where you come from. But once these athletes, maybe others, Mr. Speaker, have not been having money, and then you get a lot of money once, it corrupts, Mr. Speaker, the minds. And we need, Mr. Speaker, financial advisors on investment for our athletes. And I think this motion, Mr. Speaker, should be included that our athletes, Mr. Speaker, should be given financial advisors in matters investment. So that as they go around, Mr. Speaker, we have a manager who will advise them on investments, on the right place to invest their money, Mr. Speaker, without, and Mr. Speaker, you know, as men, when your wife gets money, you want the properties to be, when they buy property, you want them to be in your name. Mr. Speaker, I think this thing should end so that we respect. As a man, Mr. Speaker, when you get money...
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
On clarity of facts, Honorable Speaker, could the Honorable Member clarify what he means by saying, as men? Which men is he referring to? Is it including the men in this house? Or just any other men around? And is it factual, Honorable Speaker?
Yeah, Honorable, can you clarify on that accuracy of facts as raised by Honorable Maina? So that
I don't know why Honorable Maina is worried, Mr. Speaker. And I was saying, Mr. Speaker, it is in our culture that us, especially Nandis, Mr. Speaker, but in this case, Mr. Speaker, I was speaking, you know, when Honorable Tarvei was talking, you realized those who have been murdered are the ladies. And who are murdering them, Mr. Speaker, they are forces who are men. So that is what I meant, Mr. Speaker. And I think by extension, Mr. Speaker, my Honorable Maina might be having some experience on this because he's an older man. Mr. Speaker,
now,
he has experience in this.
Honorable Geter, could you clarify when you say he has experience, what do you refer? Can you elaborate on this issue of being experienced before even he raised any question?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Maina.
Could you know something about Honorable Maina so that you can explain further?
No, Mr. Speaker. I don't mean that Honorable Maina has done something wrong, Mr. Speaker. I meant, Mr. Speaker, on experience, it's not a must that it has happened to you so that you get this experience. You might be seeing and friends which has happened, what has happened to your friends, Mr. Speaker, and our society in general. So what I mean, Mr. Speaker, is that let us respect. When these athletes go, Mr. Speaker, to run, when they get their money, especially when they are ladies, the men who are the sponsors of these athletes, Mr. Speaker, should respect them and let them invest in their name. And when the man gets money, Mr. Speaker, they can also invest, unless, Mr. Speaker, they have one account which they have agreed, and they invest in both names of the sponsors, Mr. Speaker, it is right. But when your wife, Mr. Speaker, gets money and she wants to invest in her name, what is the problem? It is good, Mr. Speaker. But as a man again, when you get your money, if you want to invest in your name, it is okay, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable Keter, do you wish to be informed?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Bitok, you could inform.
Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the Honorable Member, Honorable Tildai, that culturally and in majority of the Kalenjin, all wealth belong to men, including women, children, their wealth.
I think you have been informed, Honorable. I don't know. He's informed. Informed.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member has informed me interculture, but as the society, where the society has reached, Mr. Speaker, I think we should also respect that women, Mr. Speaker, can have wealth. And I think if we can go that direction, he will be wrapped up, Mr. Speaker, by the ladies, the honorable members who are ladies here, Mr. Speaker. They will not accept what the honorable member is saying. But, Mr. Speaker, what I was trying to say is that when I get money as a man, if I want to invest as a family, we can do it. If you want to invest it as under my name, and Honorable Pitok, Mr. Speaker, have not the information Mr. Speaker is trying to give us, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, understanding order number
90, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, continue.
Mr. Speaker, is it right for you've given Honorable Keter a lot of time to do the counseling? Is he a qualified counselor? Because he's not talking about the motion, establishment of a counseling center there. Instead, he is busy advising, at the same time misadvising us and casting negative aspersions on the honorable members of this house, that when they get money, that when we got money, we differed with our spouses, Mr. Speaker. Why are you allowing him, Mr. Speaker?
No, I'm not allowing, Honorable. You've been told, Honorable, you limit yourself. And you also know that if you wanted to amend on the issue of the financial implication, you know what you are supposed to do as a ranking member, Honorable Keter. So you
Thank you, Mr.
stick
Speaker.
to the motion.
I'm sticking to the motion, Mr. Speaker. That is why I said 90, because Honorable was where I know.
Okay, fair enough,
The
Honorable
only
Keter.
standing order he knows is 90. That is why I said he is standing on number 90, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, you conclude,
But,
Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Keter.
as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying I'm supporting the motion of Honorable Tarbay, and I said, Mr. Speaker, we should say, as we do look for councillors to counsel these people, I was adding that we can, the Honorable Tarbay, and I know, Mr. Speaker, this motion is meant for the executive to implement it. As they implement, Mr. Speaker, I'm trying to advise them to add the financial advisors for these athletes so that they can invest, Mr. Speaker, for their retirement, Mr. Speaker. That is what I wanted. And thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to arise and say something about the motion on the floor. I support in totality that there should be a center, at Kipchoge Stadium, whereby we shall have a support system for gender-based violence. Nandi County, being the source of champion, especially our sportsmen in the sides of athletes. So they really need support from all corners to be supported socially, mentally, physically, and everything that pertains a human being. So having that facility, it has not been maximized. So the facility should be maximized by all means. So when this motion came from our brother here, Honorable Tarbay, so it has come at the right time. Our athletes have undergone a lot of suffering because they are lacking counselors, they are lacking support even from the family members, and even support from the community, and even from the county itself. We are proud of our athletes. Every now and then, we are just waiting. When Olympics come, World Cups come, we are just waiting for our men from the Nandi County so that we celebrate them. So we have had incidents whereby there have been, some have been killed, Some have been abused in one way or another. So the center will be of great importance to them. It is not only those ones who have won gold, who have gotten the money, that are undergoing this violence. Even those young ones, they're coming up athletes in our camps, especially the ladies in those camps. They are undergoing sexual abuses in those camps from their counterparts even, those whom they are training with. Most of these athletes, they come from humble families. So you find that they lack some of the basic things. So they are actually tempted to be lured into these sexual abuses in their camps, for them even to get some shoes, training shoes, or to get some track suits. Some could not even afford to get meals when they are in those camps. So you find that they are being subjected to all these violence and abuses because of their vulnerability. They cannot afford what is required in those training camps. So when shall have this center, the center will even stretch their assistance even to those training camps to guide and counsel them, so that each and everyone who is a sportsman, who is an athlete, will realize their dreams. Most of them, their dreams has been cut off because of these abuses. So when women are undergoing sexual abuses in those camps, they are not able to meet whatever is required when they are in the field now. Because most of the time, they feel that they feel ashamed. They think that everybody knows, even in the field, that something happened to them. So it is good that we have this center now. When we talked of especially when somebody wins, we know very well that these are young men between the ages of 20 to 30. This is a bracket which is very dangerous, actually. We say that you either you live or you die in this stage. Even in our families, to handle people at this stage, this bracket of 20 to 30, it is not easy. So when we have the counselors, it will really help them a lot. Imagine somebody have just been trained, and then within no time, a few period of years, somebody is winning millions of money. Somebody who have not even handled even a few money. That anxiety actually needs somebody to handle that person immediately after winning. So I witnessed once, that one was in '78. We had a very good runner. So when he cleared after the race, the friends were there, and they had a very good, what do we call it? Let me say nyaunyo. When he cleared the race, he was given a few strokes, and then he was furious. We asked why, and they told us that this is the way that you can cool down this person to come back to reality. Because when one has just cleared the bar, that person has a lot of anxiety. The feeling is different. So you just administer some strokes, and then the person will turn back and then cool down and come back to normal. So they had something to assist them. But now we have left them, we have left our young men and women to be exploited, even by the managers, even by the trainers. So this actually, having this support system will really help a lot. They will not be at the hands of people who want to exploit them, but they will be at safe hands, both men and women who are athletes. Let us not look on the other side only. Even we have the men. Even one became stressed and he committed suicide. Not far, it is just recently at Barbar there, an athlete by the name Sam, because of depression, family issues. The man was out of himself, and the only thing that went to his mind is to commit suicide. So we need a lot of counselors, not only in the field of sport. Let the Department of Sport assist the sportsmen and women. Even other departments, they need counseling and guiding in those areas, because we are in the world today. We are in the world of exploitation. We are in the world of stresses. We are in the world of depression and mental illness in general. So counselors are very important. So I stand to support as we start with the sportsmen. Even other departments should be having a desk for counseling to the people in those departments, because people are undergoing a lot of stresses. But let us make this one of athletes, because athletes are the only people in Kenya that have raised the flag of Kenya internationally. We have had our national anthem being sung because of our athletes. So they should be taken care of. Thank you. I support in totality.
Thank you, Honorable. I've seen some mics on. I don't know whether it is. I've been saying that if you want to, the Honorable Milga, let us also rise up, members. You know that you need to stand. You need to swing out the mic. We will not be aware that whether you want to speak or by default. Honorable Milga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to support this motion. This is a very good motion. I applaud Honorable Tarbey for bringing it. This is really very shocking. Even the time we had our recently girl known as Cheptegei, who was killed, who was burned. And this makes us worrying because our girls are the ones targeted mostly. And this center will guide them or counsel them, because sometimes maybe they have some weakness. And you can hear that money is a problem. And these girls and boys are very young. They don't know how to use this money. So, they think that love and money are two different things. That is why our girls are being killed anyhowly. I have heard from the worker, a GBV worker here in Nandi County, that he has a lot of cases here in Nandi. And I thank Tarbey. You have given us the percentage. And I want also to inform you that we have 700 cases in Nandi. The girls are more than that. And they have come out and said that we want to see the governor. We want to have a meeting with him and tell him what we are doing, and this is our job. So if this facility was there, it could be good even to direct them to go there and have a counseling. It is really becoming bad. We can now say that we have come out and we have seen being killed. But we have a lot of our girls and boys tortured, and they are not saying. So when we have this facility, please, we will even make them be a must. When they want to run or to practice athletics, they must. It is going to be a must to pass that counseling. On 21st this month, we will be in Chepsaita. People are registering for the marathon of December, December. And we have seen that we have a lot of young children, starting from grade 3 upwards. And imagine, they can say that they have a camp somewhere for them to do practices. Who will guide this grade 4, grade 6 child how to stay? Let's say that we have a Form 4 leaver, and he's eager to go abroad to run. He will do what it takes so that he can be accepted and be given a visa to go, to fly. So I thank you, Honorable Tarbe. Let us support this motion and make it work. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kefolwe, and then Honorable Kuto.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Kwanza nataka nishukuru sana Mheshimiwa Tarubei kwa wazo ile ambalo ameleta kusaidia ukatili ambao unawakumba ukatili wa kijinsia. Mheshimiwa Spika, unajua haya mambo yote yanapoanza huwa yanaanza na pesa ndio chanzo cha haya maovu yote. Na mtu akisha hawa wakimbiaji huwa wanaenda nje ya nchi wakienda kuwakilisha nchi yetu. Na wanaporudi huwa wana tajriba kubwa sana. Wanapokuja na hundi la pesa, wanakuja na sifa kochokocho zikija hapa katika nchi yetu hii, wakija na jina safi ambalo limeoshwa nyeupe kama pamba, wakija kuwakilisha wakisema ya kwamba nchi yetu iko hapa. Kwa hivyo hawa ni watu ambao wanahitaji heshima kubwa sana ambayo yafaa jina lao liweze kuenziwa kwa umakini sana. Mheshimiwa Spika, iwapo wazo la Mheshimiwa Tarubei ya kwamba yafaa wawe na wale washauri ambao wako karibu sana nao, waweze kuwapa motisha, licha hao kupata pesa mingi, waweze kuelekeza namna ya kutumia, sababu mimi sioni chanzo kingine kikubwa, si mambo mengine. Chanzo kikubwa cha hii ukatili wa kijinsia huwa ni pesa. Sababu manake labda mtu ameanza na mtu kuanzia chini, inapofika pale pesa ni muovu, inabidi inamlazimu yule ambaye wamekuwa naye kukataa mwenzake. Sasa ndio inaleta shida ya hii maovu. Kwa hivyo tunataka wale washauri waweka katika hizo sehemu ambazo zinafanywa mazoezi. Iwapo kuna mtu ambaye amekwaza ndani ya roho yake, waweze kwenda kushauriana, wawashauri vizuri, wawape njia mwafaka, waweze kutuliza roho zao, ndio waweze kuendeleza. Sababu tunataka sifa kochokocho ziendelee kuingia katika nchi yetu hii, ya kwamba kuna wale wakimbiaji ambao bado hawataondoka kwa mapema. Sababu tumeona hata kule Kikuyuni kuna yule mwenye alienda. Hapa Nandi nimeona kabisa kadhaa wameondoka kwa haraka, wenye tulikuwa tunatarajia wangekuwa bado wanapeana sifa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naunga hii, na ingefanyika kama leo tu, sababu jambo kama hili lilikuwa la maana kwetu. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema Mheshimiwa Spika, tushikane kama bunge hili sote kwa jumla, tupitishe hii mswada ili tuweze kuona ya kwamba wale wakimbiaji wetu ambao wanapea nchi hii sifa wako katika njia bora. Kwa hivyo asante sana, sina mengi, ni hayo tu Mheshimiwa Spika.
Asante Mheshimiwa Turbosa Kuto, alafu tunaenda kwa Mheshimiwa Wip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion. Thank you so much, Honorable Tarbe, for coming up with this motion. This motion is very important. It is even long overdue. It had been already been passed before. Maybe these other issues which arose recently of losing Jeptegei could not happen. Sincerely speaking, money is the root of sin. These things happens because of money. Our ladies or our girls are being murdered because of money. So I support Eliud Kipchoge to be a center of counseling. Not only trainings, we need counselors. I support we employ specialists in counseling to counsel our athletes. Because when somebody receives a lot of money and she is still young or is still young, he loses even how to use the money. Because the money, when you receive money, you don't even think of what to do. So they need to be counseled so that this matter of murder should end in Nandi County and the other countries. Because we will end up losing athletes because of this incident. So this House, let's pass this motion. Let's have measures. Let's have regulations to guide our athletes. Those who are not athletes, because it's not only athletes are being murdered. With the GBV, we have also violence or domestic violence in our families. We need also to have a rescue center in this county, and it has been long. We need it for reference to our children who are being defiled and also women who are being raped. So we need to do something as the County Assembly of Nandi. So members, let's support this motion that Kipchoge Eliud Stadium should be a rescue center for athletes. And we employ specialists as counselors to support our athletes. Otherwise, I support the motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable, I think we almost, Honorable, seen Honorable Whip and then Honorable Bamela. And then maybe if another member so that we give a right of reply so that we can move the next motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can also hear my views regarding the motion before us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed it is a wake-up call, Mr. Speaker, because we have lost so many athletes, Mr. Speaker, under unclear circumstances, in which, in my mind, Mr. Speaker, we should establish kiting and counseling, Mr. Speaker. And even, Mr. Speaker, we extend not only kiting and counseling, Mr. Speaker, because that will not be enough. We do also have to feed those people that they are training, Mr. Speaker. You find that in Nandi County, for example, Mr. Speaker, there are so many companies that they are training these athletics, Mr. Speaker. And no one has even mind to know these companies, what do they have, how do they train these athletes, and who are they. I think before that, Mr. Speaker, also we should make some laws that it guides, whereby if you want to train any athlete, you must be known and you must register yourself within Nandi. If you walk around, Mr. Speaker, you will see even some white men running around, Mr. Speaker, with our ladies, and you don't know who are those people, Mr. Speaker. No one even has raised a concern over it. I think it is our time, Mr. Speaker, whereby anybody who wants to train an athlete within the Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, should be well known. And even he should deposit, Mr. Speaker, some of his passports and so forth, Mr. Speaker. Because you find that those are killing our girls, Mr. Speaker, are the brokers. We call them the brokers, Mr. Speaker, because they are not neither running or neither working with the government, Mr. Speaker. But you find them driving a very heavy cars because they are taking advantage of our daughters, Mr. Speaker. So in this case, we should stand firm
with our colleagues so that we make laws. Those people should be known and we establish, Mr. Speaker, before they train, before they run around, Mr. Speaker, should be known by our county government, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, even if we establish that rescue center, Mr. Speaker, we need to open up our eyes and see who are them, Mr. Speaker. I'm worried it could be another cough, Mr. Speaker, that people will be using only to scoop their money, Mr. Speaker. Because if it means we establish a rescue center, Mr. Speaker, it also involves resources, Mr. Speaker. So indeed, we have a lot to do. Can we start by legislating and putting all those things together, Mr. Speaker, so that at the end of it all, we manage to rescue, Mr. Speaker. And more so, we encourage our athletics to become a Christian, to be attending churches, Mr. Speaker, so that pressure so that they can know, Mr. Speaker. I know it's very painful, Mr. Speaker. Some are younger than what they earn, Mr. Speaker. For someone who has never seen even 100 shillings, Mr. Speaker, and then all of a sudden, 1 million falls into your pocket, Mr. Speaker, if you will not be guided enough, then you will be intending to misuse, Mr. Speaker. So I'm in totality support that we establish a very comprehensive training center. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, guiding and counseling should be enhanced in that place, Mr. Speaker. I therefore support this motion, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Pamela.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion because our athletes, especially ladies, are suffering, and most of our ladies are the breadwinners of their families. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to money, most ladies.
Honorable Pamela, you've said most of the ladies are the breadwinners of the families, or
Yes.
what do you refer? All men are not breadwinners?
Because most men, when they get married, they move with their spouses outside families. But most women came back to see their parents and support them. Again, Mr. Speaker, I heard Honorable, although he's not there, he said that we should invest with their spouses. How can you invest with a spouse who you have not legalized marriage? Mr. Speaker, I have a right to invest my money so long as we have not made our marriage legalized. Again, Mr. Speaker, mostly before you invest with your money as a lady, can you make sure you got married, legalize your marriage, so that you cannot face these challenges? Because there is no man who can accept to invest when you are married. Mr. Speaker, there is no day I will give a man money to invest on another lady unless we have married legally. Otherwise, I stand to support this motion.
Fair enough, Honorable Pamela. Now, honorable members, because we have a number of issues, and I want to request the members that don't go out because we might lack quorum, and we have a number of business that we might transact from now to afternoon. So I request you members that let us concentrate on this particular matter, so that we have another motion, and also in the afternoon we have a number of issues. So let us also, if I've seen 2 or 3 members use 1 minute, then I will give Honorable Darbe right to reply, so that we move the next motion. Honorable Matata, and then maybe I'll give a right of reply to Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I move a motion that you put the question reading the mood of the House, and I call upon Honorable Bate to second.
Thank you, honorable members. As said by Honorable Matata, because if they have contributed, he would have denied that right. So he has proposed that we put a question, to this. Well, I now put a question that this motion. Okay. Now, you know, I wanted to, before the right of reply, let me give the right of reply, and then I put the question as said. But then I wanted to put the question. So let me give
Point of order,
Tarpei.
Mr. Speaker. Is it in order? A motion has passed, and you want to give out again a right of reply, Mr. Speaker. I thought that is now passed.
No, it has never passed, Honorable Mosby. He was requesting that we put a question, or we will put a question, or we continue debating, so that I'll give the right of reply before I put the question for the whole. What I wanted to put the question is on whether we are continuing debating, or I'll put the question for the whole motion. So I think it is in order. That one, it has been in order for us to discuss the same. So, honorable members, before I put the question as raised by Honorable Matata and seconded by Honorable Pate, let me give Honorable Tarpei to give a right of reply, and then we'll move to put the question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity for the right to reply. Mr. Speaker, when I brought this motion, I was less informed. But the kind of debate which this motion has elicited, Mr. Speaker, I think it has even been an eye-opener, because I now understand a number of issues which maybe I didn't understand. Mr. Speaker, when we talk of gender, we are talking about both men and women. So it's not about only female who are going through the violence, but even men, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we are speaking, you know, this thing we see it as it is far. But as we are talking, Mr. Speaker, the County Assembly of Kericho, are you condoling with the family of our former colleague, Honorable Bernard Mutai, who committed suicide, Mr. Speaker? So it's not a miracle that it's only the athletes who are going through, but the former MCA who served 2 terms ended up committing suicide, Mr. Speaker. So it's explained the magnitude of psychological problems which we are facing, Mr. Speaker. So gender-based violence, Mr. Speaker, by opening up this center, Mr. Speaker, we'll be able to afford a lot of issues. I know members have contributed a lot. You have had the experience from the Honorable Member for Koserai on these matters, Mr. Speaker. So just imagine, Mr. Speaker, even the one we believe is strongest, like Eliud Kipchoge. You saw Eliud Kipchoge has been winning a lot of marathons, Mr. Speaker. But recently he came around, was it for 7 or what, Mr. Speaker? So you can imagine such a person. He's high-ranking in society, but he needs someone to speak to. I was happy when I saw the president congratulating him and telling him that there is another moment, Mr. Speaker. So, because if you have been winning, even when you lose one time, Mr. Speaker, you need someone to just tap your back and tell you it's okay. So, by having such a center, Mr. Speaker, we'll be encouraging our athletes. We know there are a number of issues facing them, issues of anti-doping. Someone maybe, Mr. Speaker, is being introduced to anti-doping. Where will he get time to tell someone that someone is trying to make me do doping, Mr. Speaker? So, by having a center, Mr. Speaker, we'll avoid issues even to do with anti-doping, because we have a place where someone can share that someone is trying to introduce me to anti-doping. So, I want to urge the honorable members that we support. I know issues have been raised on issues of resources. But, Mr. Speaker, we now have a CS who loves sports, like Murkomen, Mr. Speaker, who comes from even around here. The county government can approach me, even, Mr. Speaker, the ministry at the national government, to second some of the staff, because they could be having this experienced psychologists, and they can be seconded to come and work with us, Mr. Speaker, at the county government, in as much as they are employed by the national government, because sports is this domicile in the national government. So we don't have even hire as a county. They can second staff from the Ministry of Sports who will be able to assist. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the honorable members for supporting this motion, and I believe the remaining task will be the Committee on Sports and the Committee on Implementation to follow up the same. This is a motion which is implementable, because we already have a complex in place. We have adequate rooms. What is needed there is just a chair, some staff being seconded there, and we are good to go, Mr. Speaker. So I thank the honorable members for the information they have given. You know, you cannot exhaust everything. That's why it's called a motion. Members give input, and they have given very valuable inputs. I've seen experienced members giving information, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank the members and ask them to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Darbe. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House therefore resolves that the county government established at Kipchoge Sports Complex a community-based counseling and sport services specifically tailored for the athletes and their families, including providing access to sports psychologist and a family counselor to offer professional guidelines on the healthy relationships and conflict resolution skills among young people and create a safer environment for individuals at risk of GBV. Will as many of a similar opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion.
Honorable Isaac Mosbey.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to move a motion. I stand to move a motion on prompt payment of suppliers, contractors, and service providers in Nandi County within 3 months after meeting their contractual terms. Aware that since the inception of Nandi County government of Nandi, budget estimates have always been passed as per section 131(1) of the Public Management Act, Public Finance Management Act, that thus qualifying the County Assembly to have had all times discharge its legislative function in approval of county budget estimates. Further aware that County Assembly of Nandi has had after every election approved the appointment of chief officers and county executive committee members, and alive to the above facts, the county executive is expected to implement budget estimates as passed by County Assembly, whose net effect is to provide effective service delivery and meet all its financial obligations by the county government. Appreciating that Section 121 of Public Finance Management Act provides that all procurement, all procurement of goods and services and disposal of assets required for the purposes of county government or a county government entity are to be carried out in accordance with Article 227 of the Constitution and Public Procurement and Disposal Act, Chapter 412C, further appreciating that circular on payment of contracts awarded to special groups demands that 30% of special groups be paid not later than 30 days from the date of contract execution, alive to the principles of public finance set out under Article 201 of the Constitution, as well as national values and principles, values, leadership and governance under Article 10, binds all state officers and all institutions, considering that contracts awarded by the county government should be in tandem with the approved budget estimates, the procurement plan, and applicable laws, further considering that Section 151 of Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, read together with Regulation 135 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2015, creates contract implementation committee for every project, and that complex projects are bound to be paid as per payment certificates raised, whereas contracts such as payment of goods of low value should be paid at once and based on the principle of paying contracts for works or services of first in, first out. Upon contractor complying with terms of tender, regrettably to note that failure to follow the implementation of budget estimates as passed by the County Assembly and attributable to non-paying contractors upon meeting terms of contract on the principle of last in, first out, as opposed to first in, first out. This has given rise to pending bills, stalled projects, non-payment of contractors even after successful completion of projects. And the actual consequence of the same has painted county government of Nandi in bad light as an entity which cannot honor its financial commitments, and the contractors are shying off from working within Nandi County government as such. And in order to bring sanity to implementation of county projects in every financial year and to have value for money in respect to every project, this House therefore resolves as follows. A, the county government shall at all times pay contractors not later than 3 months after completion of contracts and upon satisfying the contract terms. B, all chief officers and county treasury to strictly adhere to the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, and all other relevant laws in all matters pertaining to contracts, implementation of budget, and procurement plans. C, that the relevant county assembly committees shall from time to time investigate on compliance with Regulation 52(1) and Public Finance Management Act Regulations 2015 and make necessary recommendations to the House. That all accounting officers, that is chief officers, shall ensure that public funds entrusted to their care are properly safeguarded and applied for purposes of only intended and appropriated by the county assembly. Finally, that the county treasury submits to the county assembly procurement plans for financial year 2024-2025. Mr. Speaker, this motion in a nutshell, honorable members and Mr. Speaker, we want as a House, Mr. Speaker, to pronounce ourselves and to also emphasize what the existing laws already says, that the contractors that have done works across our counties, as we are all aware, there are some who did works even many years ago, even at the beginning of the devolution. But to date, because of excuses after excuses and challenges here and there, some ranging from even sheer laxity, Mr. Speaker, this motion is going to cure the challenge, the aspect where even the contractors within the county, if you look at most of our works, Mr. Speaker, you shall realize that most of the contractors that are working within Nandi now are not even residents of this county, Mr. Speaker. We would want devolution to encourage the development of the local contractors. And the reason why the local contractors are not taking works within our county, Mr. Speaker, is not that they are being discriminated. by maybe the law or even the process. But the main challenge is in the payment of works of goods delivered that our county government is not doing so. Since we are the body that appropriates funds for payment, the question is, why shouldn't a contractor be paid and yet we've appropriated funds? That's why, honorable members, I would want to urge you to support this motion so that we streamline once and for all. We pronounce ourselves as a house that indeed, after a contractor has done his works, certificate of completion has been raised, or even the small contracts which can be paid almost immediately should be done so without further delay. Mr. Speaker, may I ask Honorable Josephat Bate to second me on this motion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mosbe and Bate. Honorable members, I now propose the motion moved by Honorable Mosbe on the prompt payment of supplies, contractors, and service providers in Nandi County within 3 months after meeting the contractual terms be discussed. Honorable members, the floor is open. Honorable Sangutei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support this motion. Keeping in mind that in Nandi County, we have a lot of pending bills. So if this motion will pass in this house, it will reduce the load of pending bills to date, to be updated to date. Because historically, when you are working in the village or in the streets of Kapsabet or elsewhere, you can find a contractor complaining that he hasn't been paid the works which have been done so many years ago. So I'm requesting that this house let us adopt this motion and strictly request the finance team to adhere to the guidelines by the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Matata.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the motion brought by the member from Kaptomo Kaboi. Honorable Speaker, what actually this motion is trying to do is to enforce the law, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find that, Mr. Speaker, the PFM Act and the Public Procurement Act are actually clear on the issues that have been raised by the Honorable Member. Honorable Speaker, you find that in Nandi County, it is now becoming a culture or a norm that office bearers in Nandi County are blatantly violating the law, Honorable Speaker. Why am I saying this, Honorable Speaker? The current crisis that is surrounding the county government of Nandi is as a cause of blatant violation of the law. Mr. Speaker, it happened that before I was elected into this honorable house, I have been in the field of construction. When you even peruse or you see this contract document, some clauses indicate that whenever a payment certificate has been satisfied by an engineer, it should be paid 30 days from the date of it being satisfied. Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon all the office bearers in Nandi County that they should be holding those offices And also they should be worried because these people, I'm very sure, when they will exit office, they will be prosecuted. They might not be prosecuted currently because they hold those offices, but I'm very sure with the messes that they are overseeing in Nandi County, they should be worried. Mr. Speaker, the law is very clear. The PFM Act, very clear. The Public Procurement Act, it is very clear. Now, sometimes I even ask myself, Mr. Speaker, that is it that these budgets that we have been approving in this honorable house, are they not real? Because what is happening? It is in the public domain that exchequer release to Nandi County has been done 100% for the last financial year. But when you walk around, even in our wards, we know contractors who have completed their contracts, but to date, they have not been paid. So that means somebody is seated somewhere blatantly violating the law. And I want to urge this honorable house, let us not massage anybody that is violating the constitution and the relevant laws. Because the message that we are experiencing in Nandi County is as a result of blatant violation of the relevant laws. If all the office bearers in Nandi County could be operating within the confines of the law, all these messes that we are currently experiencing could not be there, Mr. Speaker. So I support this motion brought in by Honorable Mosbey in totality, so that we also make sure that the laws are adhered to the latter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Turbosa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion led by Honorable Mosbey. This motion is very important. Surely, Nandi is behind because of implementation of projects due to non-payment of contractors. We have many projects which have been left out or which have been retendered because of the contractors who are not ready to apply because of these non-payments. If somebody has already done the work very well, the way Honorable Matata has said, the certificate has been raised, then what happens that that contractor is not paid? What is wrong? Where is the problem? We need to know. Let's pass this motion so that we can see where or if there is somebody lying, not doing his or her work, let that person be sacked out. Because we need work to be done in county. Now we are in, the first quarter is almost ending. No projects have been contracted. We have projects which have been done for last financial year, 2023-2024. No contract has been paid. So how will those people accept to apply contracts when they have many bills, huge bills? We will not end these bills in county if we don't look away of ending up with these issues, which are happening every now and then. So members, this motion is well brought up, and we need to support it so that work should move faster. I really support this motion 100%. Thank you so much.
Honorable Maina. Then Honorable Esther.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to support this motion and say that it comes at a good time. And I'd like to make the following observations, Honorable Speaker, that this motion actually is directed at ourselves. If there was a way in which a motion can be passed so that the assembly can do its work, then this is one of them. So if anybody thinks among the honorable members that this is directed at the executive, it is squarely directed in this house. Look at the resolutions that we are going to make, Honorable Speaker. That relevant county assembly committees shall. So the question that comes to my mind immediately is that probably we are telling everybody who is watching us that they have not done. So relevant committees, as we pass this motion, do it. Do your work. An honorable member has mentioned that it is a question of enforcement of the law. Who oversights? Who exactly, Honorable Speaker, is a chief enforcer of the law in the assembly, in the county government? It is this house. We are the ones who should, actually that is the reason why we are here. So this motion easily could be an indictment on us. But I support it very much. We should be able to do the work for which, like for instance, Honorable Speaker, look at the first, the resolution there, the first, the second, chief officers. These are people who are answerable to this house. We actually vetted them. And on a day, in a regular way, constitutionally, it is required, Honorable Speaker, that the County Executive Committee does provide to this house full, complete disclosures. You will remember, Honorable Speaker, that a question has been going on in this house regarding the IFMI statements. Those IFMI statements, to the best of my knowledge, have not been supplied to this house up to now. What does the law say, Honorable Speaker? That this house shall be given complete information, if so and when we want. We requested, Honorable Speaker, the other day, when we passed the motion on county importance, that this house be supplied with quarterly reports. What were we given? Monitoring and evaluation reports. What does the law say, Honorable Speaker? That the County Executive Committee shall provide those quarterly reports, including annual reports. So right now, for us to come and say there are contractors who are walking around, actually, Honorable Speaker, part of the reason why I think we might need to up our game a little bit is that we don't know. Probably that's an allegation. Who actually knows whether there are contractors walking around, have finished work and they have not been paid? If we don't know, and we cannot give evidence here, then what do you expect our people to do? Because the legislators, the people who have the power to summon, even to act as a court, an high court, we don't have it. So this is really probably a wake-up call on the House. All the resolutions here are directed to us. It is us who will ensure that the county office, the chief officers do their work. And let me tell you, honorable members, if, Honorable Speaker, these guys are not following the Constitution, they are not following the law, right now, do you think they are going to follow this motion? They are not following the Constitution. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the law. And now we are saying, let this motion suddenly make them careful. I want to call on this House that as we pass this motion, let it be a message that comes to ourselves. Because the resolutions here, actually, I would have been very hesitant to have a motion that says all committees shall, all committees of this House. So in the real sense, what are we saying, honorable members? Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House, we are the ones who shall hold the executive to account. It falls on us. And we are here in a regular basis. We are on full-time basis. We cannot justify our income. We cannot justify our staying if we do not hold these people to account. So I support this motion as a way of waking up, waking ourselves up, waking myself up, so that we can do our work. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Esther.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also stand to support the motion that these contractors should be paid in time. As the MCA for Lesotho has said, is that we are the oversight of these projects. We are also the oversight of these payments. We have so many contractors outside there crying. They have really, the pending bills have been piled at the counties, at our county. Because these people are not been paying the contractors. People are given letters, award letters, they go out to work, but when they finish, nobody pays them. My question is, who do these people pay? Because the money comes in every now and then, every month, money is coming from the exchequer. Who are these people paying? Because these people don't pay contractors. At times we walk around, there's not even one contractor being paid, and they have finished their work. They have gone, seen the work. They have gotten the letters. The inspection letters are ready. Everything is ready, but no payment at the Nandi County. It is not only roads. It is every, even in the education sector, agriculture sector, everywhere, people are not being paid. You find somebody putting up an ECD, staying there for 6 months, after finishing, no payment. People are crying there. I thank God, because today, this is just but a wake-up call. My brothers and sisters, this is a wake-up call. Let us wake up. And when they pay, you should be seeing or follow up. What are these people paying? How many projects were being tendered this financial year? And at the end of the financial year, how many projects have been paid? You know, when we do the oversight, I think we are going to bring down the pending bills in this county. We have even the 2018 pending bills, 2017 pending bills, 2019 pending bills. People are pending bills here. The other day, the chairman, contractors, Nandi County was just around here, going around looking for us, asking the MCAs to assist them to be paid. We have even, we are talking on the other bill that people should be psychologically, we have contractors here who are psychologically, they need to be given the nini. Because their money, people have sold land, come and work, thinking that I have a 4 million tender, and the small piece of land at home, let me just sell the land and come work, get more money, buy land. Out. Nothing has been done. So I think we need to do something in this house. We need really to do the oversighting. We are here to do oversight, and let us do it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Support the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Tarbey. Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this motion. And as I support, Mr. Speaker, allow me to congratulate my member of County Assembly. Because, Mr. Speaker, even as I am a member of County Assembly, I have a member who represents me in Kaptumo Kapoi Ward, Mr. Speaker. And I want to congratulate him for this motion. However, Mr. Speaker, you know, like what Honorable Shangu was saying, this reminds me in a verse in Galatians 3, verse 1, Mr. Speaker, which says, Paul was saying these words, Mr. Speaker, and he says, "You foolish Galatians, who bewitched you? That before your eyes, Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed and sacrificed," Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know, it's kind of, this verse applies to us. What Honorable Shangu was saying is the truth. Mr. Speaker, we have a clear finance bill, BFM Act, which clearly stipulates how things are to be done, Mr. Speaker. But if you see, even in social media, Mr. Speaker, the residents of Nandi are asking us, while all these things are happening, where are the members of County Assembly? Because, Mr. Speaker, and they know for a fact that as member of County Assembly, we cannot go to procurement department, we cannot go to the evening system and pay contractors. Ours is just to legislate, Mr. Speaker, and do oversight. But we cannot go to those computers, Mr. Speaker, because, like what Honorable Esther was asking, Mr. Speaker, 2 contractors have done work. There is a contractor who is who and who in this community, Mr. Speaker. And the who and who's are doing mega projects, those flagship projects, Mr. Speaker, which is at 2%, 20%. So when payments comes to this county, Mr. Speaker, they start contractor who knows nobody in the finance department, Mr. Speaker, and he has done maybe an ECD in Ngatipkong, those areas, Mr. Speaker, worth maybe 2 million. But, Mr. Speaker, because the who and who contractor is known in this county, the same have the payment certificate which has been raised, they will prefer to pay the who and who will pay back the kickback, Mr. Speaker, and then nobody contractor is left to chase up and down, Mr. Speaker, for the pending bills, Mr. Speaker. So, this is basically what is happening in
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
It is on clarification. I would wish that the Honorable Member clarifies, whereas I agree with him that there is a possibility of these things, and this is a house of record. Are we going to have in the answer something that this house agrees that there is someone called nobody contractor and a somebody contractor, unless we have the evidence that yes, there was contractor A and contractor B, they did work, finished, and contractor B, because they were known to whoever was paid, contractor A was not. Honorable Speaker, could you help me to understand? Because otherwise we will have records in this house which says there is a nobody contractor, somebody contractor, but there is no evidence. We don't even know what that means when we say nobody contractor. Unless it is a name, a company.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
No, maybe before he will finish, because he was on a point of order, and then you will ask the information. So have you? Okay. Darby, I think you will answer the way he was asking about the nobody contractor and the state contractor, the way I said by Honorable Maina before.
I think,
whom do you want to inform, Honorable?
Honorable Maina.
Maina, do you want to be informed?
I will accept, but is the process going on well, or you are giving us an indulgence?
No. I wanted to ask you when you were on a point of order, but I don't think whether it was in order. But I want you to give you as a standing order number one to order the information.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it's not
I
in order.
want to inform
I accept the
Honorable
information. Yes, I accept.
I think, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable member from the Honorable Tarbei is actually trying to tell this House that contractors that have done work without the godfathers in the finance department are the one running up and down corridors trying to lobby for them to be paid. I think that is the message the Honorable Tarbei is trying to pass around. Thank you.
I have been informed, so I.
Thank you, Honorable Tarbei.
You may
Thank you, Honorable
just
Tarbei.
carry on.
Okay. Continue, and you also wind up because of time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I would have responded that unless Honorable Maina is the only visitor in Jerusalem, Mr. Speaker, because this motion is trying to address the issues, Mr. Speaker, of pending bills. And if you see those pending bills, Mr. Speaker, there are these upcoming contractors. Those contractors in the BWD section, the youths who rush to the bank to borrow some money, Mr. Speaker, are the ones in the corridors of justice seeking for payment, Mr. Speaker. Yet those are non-contractors, Mr. Speaker. The established ones, they are easily sorted because they know how to maneuver around, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I have a dream that one day in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, the rule of law will be followed. Mr. Speaker, I have a dream that you will, one day in Nandi County, you will not have to know someone. You just go do your contract, payment certificate is raised, you just go and wait, and money will come to your account, Mr. Speaker. But what is the use of you being a contractor? You do your contract, you go borrow money, then come follow up for payment, Mr. Speaker. Why don't systems run the way it should be, Mr. Speaker? But if what is happening continues to happen, Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that this House that will stand to rise to the occasion. You know, all of us, Mr. Speaker, we have ancestors. And, Mr. Speaker, some of our ancestors are never known. Some of the ancestors we know in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, include the people of Koitalel Samoe, Chin Marise Ronei, Mr. Speaker. They were politicians at some point. They were leaders. God has given us an opportunity to come to this honorable House, Mr. Speaker. When I walk through the corridors of this House, my name still hangs in the wall, Mr. Speaker, as the founding member of this county assembly. But, Mr. Speaker, when I'll be gone, what will I be remembered of, Mr. Speaker? I don't want my name to vanish, Mr. Speaker. I want to be remembered for having done something. I want to urge the honorable members that we are living at extraordinary times. The members of public are out crying. They are crying on us on a number of issues, Mr. Speaker. The contractors are looking upon us. The ECDTGs have been here. Mr. Speaker, I believe it's high time we start doing things right, Mr. Speaker. So I support this motion. It's a one way of doing things right, although it's not the best way. But anyway, we have to do it, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I support the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Silas Gogo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is justice for our contractors. Honorable Speaker, personally, I don't feel good when a contractor was completed his or a job to come and look for an MCA to ask for his or her payment after the completion of the job. And we have people who are supposed to be doing that job. Normally allocate the money, the work has been done, only for the contractor to run up and down asking for his or her dues. And that's why, Honorable Speaker, if you don't clear these menaces, the Honorable House, then in future, we are not going to have even a single contractor coming to this Nandi. And if at all we want to make this great county, we must do justice for these contractors, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we have a mandate as an Honorable House that we must do our job, that we were sent by our electorates. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Mosbebo for coming with this motion. It's timely, and I want to urge those who are responsible to make sure these menace of pending bills to do their job and make sure whatever we have allocated in these honorable chambers to be followed to the latter. Honorable Speaker, I can't imagine a pending bill from the year 2013 to this date is still a pending bill. And I want to urge this Honorable House, we must scrutinize all these pending bills. And I want to thank that the reports before us, we have this menace, and we shall deal with this perpendicularly. We want to know what's not happening. We have to clean this once and for all. Honorable Speaker, I want to ask all of us to come, support this motion, and we follow it as mandated by the rules and regulations of this Honorable House. I stand to support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gavolwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to iron out my issues, Mr. Speaker, concerning this motion. Mr. Speaker, before any work is given, there is the work is being, a tender is given. After a tender is given, people apply for that tender, and competitively they source, and the best candidates come and they are given the work. Mr. Speaker, this is very shameful because it seems when a work is being given, who knows who? That is the contagious issue that is actually being seen when contractors have done their work. Mr. Speaker, it is shameful. People might have gone and taken their loan from different banks, and you know bank can only give you a limit unless if you die, then they know that one is a loan has been forfeited. But for now, Mr. Speaker, the loan has to run. And Mr. Speaker, there are conditions that the move of the motion wanted to ensure actually it is done. Mr. Speaker, basing on Part C of this motion, that the relevant county assembly committee shall then form a team, from time to time, investigation to compliance with the regulation. So, Mr. Speaker, basing on this statement, Mr. Speaker, you see now, we are mandated now to form maybe a committee to overlook what is actually being done by the executive there. If people are being given the first priority, first come, first served. We don't want a situation where the cow can eat on its rope, Maybe the longer the rope, the bigger the cow will feed. The smaller the rope, the smaller the cow will starve. So, Mr. Speaker, to me, I thought maybe this county assembly could actually look into that, so that when we pass this resolution, we pass it once and for all. We want to change this Nandi County. We don't want a situation whereby we come and pass a motion that are just overseen by people, and they don't implement whatever it's being done. I don't know, maybe the implementation committee should actually take seriousness with this, whatever we are being discussed, because I know that one will lie with the implementation committee to ensure exactly what we members are taking this longer time discussing on matters that are supposed to be done by the executive. It is not being fulfilled. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Beth Josephat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion moved by Honorable Mospei. Honorable Speaker, these two gentlemen from the same ward are taking this great county to a notch higher, Honorable Speaker. I want to laud them for coming up with the motions every now and then. Honorable Speaker, this is the time that this Honorable House, I call it a reformed house, Honorable Speaker. This is a reformed house. They are moving motions like never before. Their seriousness is on another level, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Beth, do you impute that the members have not been doing anything in the past?
Honorable Speaker, for a matter of fact, we are redeeming our image. We have been sleeping on our jobs, Honorable Speaker.
Fair enough, continue.
Honorable Speaker, it is now time, because contractors have been crying since we came to this Tata Assembly, Honorable Speaker, that their dues have not been paid. Their monies that they borrowed from the service providers, they have not been paid. Some have even get the depression, Honorable Speaker, for not being paid. We have been passing a budget here, Honorable Speaker, but at the end of the day, the executive, they know whom to pay. They know whom to pay and those who know to pay, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is really saddening. Contractors are running away from our county. No one wants to do even to renovate even a cattle live, Honorable Speaker, simply because they are not being paid. This is the time we need to wake up and invoke our legislative role as honorable members of this Tata Assembly. That anybody who will be disloyal to this legislation that we are passing at this county assembly, we will take a very serious route, Honorable Speaker. And we know, we have been saying it has been a song, but we will implement, Honorable Speaker. We will not spare anybody. We have stalled projects, ongoing projects. From 2013, it is ongoing. Why? Pending bills. And we need to be given these pending bills. People have been paying hewa, Honorable Speaker. They have been paying nowhere. And it is within some few individuals whom, going forward, we will be going to name them one by one. Honorable Speaker, it is a matter of fact. Thank you, Honorable Mospei, for coming up with this motion to save our contractors who have been running away. If you go to Wasingishu, even renovating a deep, everybody want to go there. The Vihiga County, even making a 200 meters road, everybody want to go there because they say they pay prompt payment. But here in Nandi, no even a single contractor want to come here. And this is where we are heading. We are heading to implement World Development Fund. who will come to work for us, even if there is a 40 million in my ward and there is no payment. It will be shameful and disrespectful, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support, and I always say, I support with all my body parts, my body organs, these very serious, important motions, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to the motion. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion in totality. And I want to thank Honorable Mosbey for coming up with this motion. Honorable Speaker, all of us are aware that some contractors who have successfully completed the projects in our wards are running up and down trying to look for who can assist them to get payment. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion because if the successful, or if those contractors who successfully complete projects are paid, then we are assured of successful implementation of the projects in the future. Honorable Speaker, before every work is tendered, there has been a budget for it. And in the financial year 2023-2024, we had projects that were in the budget, and some have been implemented successfully. How comes, Honorable Speaker, that the money for the financial year 2023-2024, all of it has been received in the county? Why then, as those contractors not paid? We are aware from the news this morning that the counties are only waiting for the money for July, August, and the present September, this current financial year. But the last financial year's money was received. Why then are they not paying the contractors? Honorable Speaker, we have to ask ourselves some questions. Could there be cost contractors who are being paid, leaving out the real contractors who are implementing the projects? Honorable Speaker, I support this motion because it will assist implementation of the projects in our wards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. I've known members have deliberated. I now wish to give the motion mover to give the right of reply. Honorable Mosby, before we put the question on the same.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this. And I really want to thank members because I never knew that this motion would touch members in this particular way. I thought that the challenges that I had seen were limited to a few words. But now that you realize that it is a county-wide thing, then it is coming at the right time. And I just want to call upon us, like we've said, that let us look at ourselves also. Indeed, being one of the MCS, indeed, I'm also challenged even by my own motion. Because among the contractors that are doing contracts, I've never seen one of P.O. Box something Capcheno, a renowned, or rather a little known center in my ward. But you will only see P.O. Box Nairobi, P.O. Box Eldoret, P.O. Box Nakuru, P.O. Box, those big towns. We want these contracts to benefit even the locals, and the locals to be empowered by being encouraged, knowing that when they take a bank loan, they are not going to be made bankrupt. I know of some former contractors who are now broke, who've been reduced to beggars, some within my own ward, some going all the way to Nairobi, camping at the controller of budget, camping at ESCC offices, only to be turned back that we cannot assist while we are here. And indeed, let's take our work seriously, like we've said, and save these people from depression, which has ultimately led to death. By passing this motion, honorable members, it is like saying we have washed our hands. We want to wash our hands so that when we take action, we've had enough honeymoon, we've had enough resting period, and this is the moment now we want to act. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much, honorable members. And I want to thank even our staff, our researchers, our various clerks, our legal team that is helping us come up with such motions that is acceptable across all members. I thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members and the mover of the motion. Honorable members, I therefore put the question that this House therefore resolves as follows. 1, or A, the county government shall all at times pay contractors not later than 3 months after completion of the contracts and upon satisfying the contract terms. B, all the chief officers and the county treasury to strictly adhere to the Constitution of 2010, the Public Finance Management Act, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, and all other relevant laws in all matters pertaining to the contracts, implementation of the budget, and procurement plans. C, that the relevant county assembly committee shall from time to time investigate on compliance with the regulation of 52(1) of the Public Finance Management Act Regulation 2015 and make necessary recommendation to the House. D, that all the accounting officer, that's the chief officer, shall ensure that the public fund entrusted to their care are properly safeguarded and applied to the purpose only intended and appropriated by the county assembly. And E, that the county treasury submit to the county assembly procurement plan for financial year 2024-2025. Will as many of a similar opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, adjournment.
Honorable members, being no any other business in the order paper, this House stands adjourned to the next sitting.